Hello, welcome. Hey everyone, happy Saturday. It is Saturday, March 11th, and there has been a ton of crazy updates been going on in the money world. And so I really want to come on here and talk about it. And just explain kind of what's going on for those who aren't really sure what's going on. As far as, with the banking system, obviously you guys have seen the news with Silicon Valley Bank. You probably heard about the news with Wells Fargo. It's just been a lot. Okay, it's been a lot within this last day or so. And so I wanted to get on and just talk about some stuff. And I also want to talk about business funding today as well. Because as y'all know, business funding, business credit, it can absolutely be a game changer for you, for your business when it's done correctly. Okay, and so I want to talk about that. Hey, Colette, I want to talk about that today. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so if you guys are hopping in here live, please give me a hey, what's up, so I know that you all can hear me, and I'll also check it here on my phone. Happy Saturday. Is it Saturday or is it Friday? It's Saturday. I begin my days confused. When you work from home and you're an entrepreneur, your days sometimes all conjoin into one day. So I'm appreciative of everyone who is joining us today. But today I wanted to talk about, like I said, just some of the stuff that's been going on. So Silicon Valley Bank, okay. So for those who don't know, sorry, y'all. So for those who don't know, Silicon Valley Bank is a pretty large bank. I think they said it's like the 16th largest bank that we have here in the U.S. And this is significant because, so Silicon Valley Bank is a bank that a lot of businesses, a lot of startups use for their bank. So especially venture capital backed banks. Now, if you don't know what venture capital is basically when a company raises money from a group of investors. Okay, so a venture capital firm, they collect money from investors, and then they go and select businesses or startup businesses to invest in and put money in. Okay, and so that's really the majority of the largest businesses. So if you think about companies like Airbnb, think about companies like Uber, companies like, pretty much almost every large company has some type of venture capital that has been invested in them, okay? So about 50% in the US, 50% of companies, startups that are backed by venture capital was banking with Silicon Valley Bank. Now, this is very significant because basically what happened is I believe it was on Wednesday, the CEO announced that they need to raise money. So they're saying that they had some issues with an investment that they made. I'm not going to dive super deep into that because that can get super boring, but they basically were investing billions, not millions, billions with a B. They were investing billions of dollars into mortgage-backed securities, and that didn't go very well because of interest rates. Okay, and so like I said, I'm not going to dive super deep because it can get really boring, but the government basically said, hey, it's going to be cheaper to invest in government-backed securities versus mortgage-backed. So that the valuation of Silicon Valley Bank has gone down because of that. And so the CEO came out on Wednesday and said, hey, we need to cover our butts. We need to raise money. We need to raise billions of dollars. And so they said that they're going to sell some shares. They're going to sell some assets in order to get the cash that they need. Okay, now when they said this, investors, venture capital firms, they all started to basically freak out. Companies started to freak out. They started to panic. When this panic happened, these companies went and withdrew billions of dollars. I think they said within a span of a day, there was, I think it was $40 billion withdrew from bank accounts at Silicon Valley Bank. Now, if you know anything about the banking system, you know that when you put your money into a bank account, the bank does not keep your money there. Okay, they do not keep the cash in that account. What they do is they keep a portion of cash as reserves, and they take the rest of that money and they put it into investments, okay? So they don't have all the cash there at the bank. So when a bunch of thousands and thousands of companies go and they withdraw over $40 billion in a day, the FDIC stepped in and said, okay, you know what, this is not going to work, right? They don't have the money there to give everybody their cash back, so they shut it down. So the bank is shut down, it's collapsed, it's been taken over basically by the government to run it and to decide what's the best next move. Now, this is a problem because, like I talked about earlier, 50% of companies that are backed by venture capital, which is a lot of main companies that are in our everyday world here in the US, bank with this bank. Now, if they can't get access to their cash right now, what happens, right? They can't pay payroll, they can't pay their bills, they basically are going to get behind on things. And so this is going to have a domino effect with these tech companies, these other major companies, where they're probably going to have to start laying off people because they're not going to be getting paid, right? They're not going to be paying their employees because they may not have the capital to do so. They're probably going to get behind on bills, right? As you know, that it's like a snowball that's going to start affecting many other industries as well, not just the startup world and not just the tech world. So how everything is going to play out is going to be really, really interesting to see. As far as what's going on, I know people had mortgages with them. I saw someone post on Instagram that they tried to log into their account and they couldn't even log in on their account on Silicon Valley Bank, because they did have consumers, like regular people like you and me, there as well, housing their personal finances, their personal money. So it wasn't just businesses. So the FDIC, as you probably know, insures deposits up to $250,000, right? So for regular consumers, most of us are not depositing that much money at a time. So there won't be an effect in that regard. But when you're thinking about these large companies that are raising millions and millions of dollars, their deposits are huge. They're putting in $1 million at a time, $3 million, $10 million at a time. So it's not insured up to that amount. So deposits only up to $250,000. Like I said, even if you're not affected by that, where your money is gone, there is still going to be a domino effect with people getting laid off, people losing their jobs. So I'm just curious to see what this is going to look like, how this is going to shift the economy and the market. This is, they said, the largest bank collapse that we have had since 2008. And as many of you know, 2008 was the last like big recession that we had that impacted a lot of people, right? And primarily the housing market was affected, but I can really see with this new shift that's happening, this new reset, as some people call it, although it's not necessarily the housing market, it looks like it's more so affecting the business, the way that we do business. And so that is going to obviously affect pretty much everything. So that's huge. So that's why people are freaking out. I'm sure you've seen people talking about it. That's why they're freaking out. Now, let's talk about Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, guys. If you're familiar with my platform, you know that I am not the biggest fan of Wells Fargo and its evil twin, Bank of America. I put them in the same pot because they both just are trash, okay? But Bank of America, so yesterday, thousands of customers have said that they are missing deposits out of their bank accounts. This has happened several times with many different banks. Most recently, it happened with Bank of America not that long ago, where money was missing. Now, with the Bank of America situation, they said that it was a Zelle issue where Zelle had a technical issue, and so Zelle deposits were basically disappearing out of people's accounts. Now, with Wells Fargo, obviously they can't blame Zelle because it has nothing to do with that. They are claiming that they have some type of technical error and they are trying to get it fixed. So I read an article this morning. It said that they're hoping to have everything fixed and rectified by today, which is Saturday. Whether that is true or not, I have no idea. I know that I had some people on my Instagram when I posted about this, they said that they've been having issues with Wells Fargo's for weeks. They said that they've had deposits missing weeks ago, and they're still trying to get that handled. I don't know why or what's going on, but yeah, that's what's going on right now with Wells Fargo. A lot of people have been affected. They're saying that they've had negative accounts, and then of course, you know what happens when your account goes negative. It automatically adds on a bunch of fees. So people are now having fees. Wells Fargo says that they are going to be obviously reversing that and reimbursing those fees. Hopefully that is what happens. But it's really just a whole hot mess. It's been a crazy 24 hours in the banking world. It seems like everything's going crazy. And I've seen some posts on my Instagram, some comments on the post that I made on Instagram about these situations. And some people are speculating that they are really trying to push our money system into more of a digital currency. So they're saying that this is happening intentionally. Do you guys believe that? Do you believe that this is all happening intentionally? Is this kind of a part of their plan? I'm very curious to know what your guys' thoughts on that are. Now, like I said, it's been crazy. It's been a lot of chaos over these last several days within the banking system. Now, you might be wondering, like, okay, how is this going to affect you as a business owner? Now, let's talk about business funding. What is that going to look like as far as funding? Now, I'm not sure exactly how everything is going to play out, obviously, because I cannot tell the future. Okay, but one thing that I can say, especially with the situation going on with Silicon Valley Bank, I would not be surprised if things do tighten up a little bit as far as lending. And I wouldn't be surprised if the interest rates start to go down because they will be lending out less money, right? And so it's going to be a little bit harder to secure that money. So I think right now, really the best course of action is just getting your ducks in a row as far as your credit, your finances, with budgeting, and within your business, making sure your business is lined out straight with your paperwork so that if you are looking to get funding for your business, you can do so. Because I think the landscape of being able to get business funding, being able to get credit cards, credit loans, lines of credit, I think things are going to look a little bit different here coming up. So you want to make sure that you have your business bank accounts in order. You have your LLC, your corporation, however you have your business set up, S Corp, you have all that together. Because those are things that the banks are going to be looking at. You want to make sure that you are keeping your cash flow up as much as possible, okay? When you think about getting a business loan or a business line of credit, yes, they look at business credit. Yes, they look at, sometimes they look at your personal credit if it's like a loan or line of credit. But there's other factors that they are going to consider as well, right? Because when a bank is lending money, it's a risky decision, right? So their goal is to decrease the amount of risk that they're going to take on to lend you money. So how can we minimize some of our risk? By making our business but you want to have a healthy business, but you want your bank account to look healthy. What does that mean? That doesn't mean just having a ton of money in the bank, but that means with your cash flow, okay? So they're going to be looking at how often do you have deposits coming into your bank account? Is it once a month? Is it once every other week? Is it daily? Things like that, right? So if you have like a payment processor, some of you might be using PayPal, Stripe. I recommend where you can have, I know with Stripe, they do the automatic deposits. I think it takes like 3 days. So it's like, if you have money today, come in today on Stripe, in 3 days, they'll automatically pay you out. But I know that as you build your relationship with Stripe, you'll be able to actually take those daily deposits. So if you're able to take those daily deposits, I'd say, hey, start depositing money as often as possible from your payment processor to your business bank account. That is going to help you really strengthen your banking profile, okay, your bank rating. When it comes to actually being able to get loans, to get lines of credit and things like that. So that is something that is super, super important, and it's going to be increasingly important as time goes on. And like I said, we don't necessarily know what the economy is going to do, what the banking system is going to do, but all we can do is control what we can control with just being prepared with our businesses and with our finances. If you're someone who is looking for business funding, if you're someone who's looking to start building up your business credit, your personal credit, those things are going to just be so important during these times. But yeah, that's really all the updates that I wanted to go over and wanted to talk about. I had some people asking questions on my Instagram post, and so I just wanted to make a video and really just explain what was going on. Now, I did have some people ask me about, Wells Fargo, trash, obviously, Bank of America, trash, right? But what banks should you actually bank with? Now, the banks that I typically recommend, and let me just preface this by there's no like one size fits all as far as what banks that you should bank with. But I typically recommend that you use banks that are mid-sized banks, small banks, local banks, or credit unions. Now, I say this because those types of banks are going to be so much more beneficial for you. Now, is there a risk with every bank that you bank with? Yes, of course. There's always going to be a risk. But the way that I look at it is if I'm going to risk my money by putting them in these institutions, I might as well get something out of it, right? Now, to get something out of it is it being a mutually beneficial relationship. Meaning, at least I can get funding. At least I can have a relationship with my bank to where if I want to invest in something or I need emergency money or if I need to pay payroll, I can take out loans, lines of credit, credit cards, things like that, right? So local banks, mid-sized banks, these are banks that it's a lot easier to build a relationship with them, and they have a lot of money to give, okay? They have a ton of money to give. And so you can actually build relationships not only with maintaining good, positive accounts and constantly depositing money in there, but also actually walking into your bank and developing a relationship with your banker. When's the last time that you actually went and walked into a bank? Many people don't do that these days, right? Because everything is online, everything is virtual. But walking into your bank, talking with your banker, having relationships with the people that are making those banking decisions can play a huge role when it comes to you actually being able to get funding. So mid-sized banks, local banks, small banks, and credit unions is what I typically recommend as far as what are the best banks to bank with, whether it's personal or business money, okay? And it's good to have multiple relationships with multiple banks, okay? You don't have to just put all your eggs into one bank, right? Imagine if you were a business that had all of your money in Silicon Valley Bank, right? You'd probably be freaking out right now. So being able to have multiple banks, multiple bank accounts, it is very beneficial. It can be very beneficial, okay? So that's usually what I recommend as an alternative to some of these larger banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and even Chase, okay? Now, Chase is not in the headlines as often, but they also don't have the cleanest reputation either, okay? So that's usually what I recommend. That's what's been working best for me. I've had no issues, okay, with the credit unions that I use, with the mid-sized banks that I use, no issues. And so as far as which bank is better, there's not really a bank necessarily that is better, like the number one best bank. It really just depends on what you need and if they have the type of products that are going to be best for whatever your financial situation is, okay? And so if you guys are, interested in learning more about getting business funding, getting your business funded, and building a business that is fundable, and there's so many other ways to get funding outside of just going to a bank and applying for a credit card or applying for a business loan. And so on Tuesday, I'm actually hosting a live class. This is actually going to be my last live business funding class, okay? I won't be doing another one. This will be the last one. I'm doing it on my birthday, okay? So my birthday is on the 14th of this month, and I'm celebrating it with y'all by doing a business funding class live. So if you guys want to register for that, I did only open up a limited amount of seats because I want it to be intimate. I want you guys to be able to actually talk to me and ask questions. And so I'll drop the link to that below in the description box if you're on YouTube. And then, of course, I'll throw it in the comments and the caption if you're on Facebook. But that's all that I really wanted to dive into today. Business funding can be a game changer, especially knowing that the way that things are going right now in the economy, in the finance world, there's just a lot of uncertainty. And so I think that it's good to just have some type of a backing to where you can lean on some of the funding to put some more income producing vehicles in place, right? To be able to make some investments, to maybe open up some other streams of income. So having funding can definitely help you do that. I know it's helped me do that for sure over the last several years, without having to use your own money and risk your own money. So having that business funding is going to be key. Okay, and the landscape is changing, and all we can do is just control what we can control by making sure that our business is prepared and making sure that our finances are prepared for whatever it is that is going to be coming over these next few weeks and these next few months. Because I think 2023, we're only 3 months in, and things are looking crazy, okay? Things are looking very, very interesting. So I want to make sure that you guys are prepared. So again, that's going to be on the 14th. My last business funding class is happening. Super, super excited for it. It's my birthday, so we're going to be celebrating with some business funding, okay? So I'll drop the link to that below. Again, seats are super, super limited. And really, that's all that I have for you guys for today's session. I just wanted to explain what's going on because it's been crazy, and I'm sure you've seen the headlines, and there's been a lot of just chaos, in the finance world. So as you guys know, of course, as usual, I will be keeping you guys updated as things start to roll out, as changes are starting to be made. I want you guys to give me your thoughts and opinions below down in the comment section. Let me know, were you someone that was affected by this Wells Fargo technical error, right? Technical error. Did you lose money, or did you have missing deposits? And let me know what you think about what's going on right now with Silicon Valley Bank, with all these businesses, all these startups and tech companies that are going to be affected. I'm hoping that there's not going to be a ton of layoffs, that kind of domino effect after this, but I would not be surprised if that's how things go. So that's all that we have for today's video. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you share this, okay? Because there's someone out there that's probably wondering what the heck is going on. So make sure you hit that share button. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe for more financial information, for more financial updates. And my goal is just to keep you guys informed and educated so that you can make the best decisions for you, right? But it's hard to make the best decisions and make the best moves if we don't know what's going on. So it's my goal to just spread that information and help you all any way that I can. Okay, so I appreciate y'all, and I'm going to catch you guys